It wasn't until my parents died, having been taught that they could not and would not die, that I'm like, what do I do with this?
Okay, let's jump into that. I think you said your father died first, if I heard
Mm.
correctly. So yet your theology was he's not going to die. So maybe kind of walk us through what happened and how it affected you.
My dad died when I was 21. His health started to decline probably in September. And my mom, he was in Ohio. He died in Ohio. We had no idea how badly he was doing. So I went down to celebrate New Year's with friends there, happened to stop by to see them, and immediately called my brother and said, for all intents and purposes, dad is dying. No, he's not. I know it's not supposed to happen, but it looks like I don't know what to say. I just think you should come. And I was so sure, though, that he wasn't actually going to die that I went back home on a Saturday night, got in super late. It was probably technically Sunday morning after midnight. So confident that he wasn't actually going to die. He died at noon that Sunday. But we were so convinced that there was going to be a miracle and that he was going to continue on. But he died at home, absolutely no medical care. And we didn't really believe in medical care. We didn't really believe like, okay, if it's God's will, it will be. If it's not God's will, it won't be. And so he passed away there in my mom's arms, and it was absolutely horrific. It was awful.
So that was one of the first things that's rocking your thinking. Yet you were 21. How did that affect you? And then you also mentioned your mom passing. So what happened in between, and then what happened with your mom, and how did it affect you?
7 years is a long time, and it wasn't the sudden moment where I'm like, I'm fully mentally out was at 28 when I realized it had been a cult. But I had started in ways sort of coming out at 14 when I started like trimming my hair and changing in the pants in the bathroom. But I was in a lot of turmoil. I thought I was dishonoring God. So it was more of I wasn't really feeling rebellious. I was feeling scared, but I wanted to fit in. So it was kind of that struggle. And then by 21, I had married outside of the group, which was significant, but my dad had been at my wedding, had given me away. We didn't necessarily support legal marriage. So all of this was a really big deal that I had done any of those things. At 21, then my dad passes away. And immediately, literally that same day, I was one of the first people who said it. He had told us of all of these dreams that he had had. He had been saying them for years. That's why I love talking to people about dreams. If that there's a big thread in people who have been in groups like this where they've had dreams that have kept them in things that they should not have stayed in. So there's definitely a theme there of how dreams can be manipulated. But he had all these dreams where he went away for a while and then he came back and everyone had dispersed. And so we're like, oh my goodness, this is that dream fulfilled. He's gone away for a while. He's going to come back. And so we need to stay put. And so literally, Sean, that's what everyone did. This was for over a decade. He died in 2007. The whole group just moved like 3 years ago. So we're talking a really long time. People stayed put. They had storage units filled with like books and tapes for the people that were going to come. The initial belief was that he was put back into like a young body in Africa and was preaching and teaching, was going to send people over. So that kept people holding on. Now, my mom also, there was some numerology aspects to the group. And so she started tracking on the calendar. Like we waited 3 days to have him cremated because he was going to be raised, like that kind of thing. She's totaling up the days with all these ideas of like what number it will be symbolically that he'll return, until 3.5 years later, she dies. And that is what really undid me, because my mom was my world at that time. I mean, she had been the one sense of safety that I did have growing up. Even though she had not protected me from my dad, she had bought into the belief system. She never actually was okay with that. Like she was not abusive. She wanted to make it the best it could be. She cried with me, staying in something where their children are getting abused. And yet I also understand the cult mindset, particularly when it's connected with Jesus and eternal life, and the weight that carries and how that messes with people. And so for her to die, I'm like, and for her to die the way she did, she was unmedicated again, no hospice support, no anything. to watch her just dwindle away to nothing. She was absolutely in pain. It was
Oh,
horrific experience. And to go through that and be like, Lord, I mean, if this is your will, but like what do I do with this? And how do I move on? And now where do I go for truth? Because I don't have either parent now. And that set me off in a direction of trying to find what truth actually was.